Hi, everyone. Welcome to Florida Woman Friday on the Power Network. Grab your weighted blanket, crack open some Boone's Farm, and settle in because we're back on the Sarah Boone beat. Because a sociopath like Sarah just doesn't take the weekend off, am I right? From prison drama to family court cameos, she's keeping the chaos coming. I'm going to roll some credits while we wait for the rest of the blame. Oh, wow, I'm rusty. While we wait for the rest of the Blame Boone crew to roll in, shout out to the Power Replay fam, the Dragonflies, and all the Friday hotties out there. Are you ready for some Sarah Boone?
Cavalier's drumming his old guitar again. Words rolling out into our fire. If heaven had wings, I would steal them and fly away with you for a while. Hearing the essence of gratitude, your dreamy little smile on my lips. I miss my cue, but baby, I had you. Miss my cue, but I had you for that day.
Hearing the essence of gratitude, I'm so happy I'm back with my power crew, and I'm so happy that we're doing a Blame Boone update. I haven't talked about her in a hot minute, but you know, Sarah Boone is going to be Sarah Boone, and Sarah Boone's going to do what Sarah Boone does best, and she's going to cause chaos. So from being moved in the prison, she's got some family court drama. She has they released the sidebars from her trial, so we've got that to go over, and we have some incident reports, so we got a lot we're going to look at, but before we do, if we could just start that algorithm dance party that I like to do. Just start warming up your fingers and dancing them right up to the hearts and thumbs up button. Today we're coming to you on Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram. Hi, everyone. So just give us some love on whichever platform we're coming to you on. It just helps us dance, like I said, out into the algorithm. Free way to help us out, and it's really, really appreciated. So how's everyone been doing? Have you been following the Sarah Boone case? What have you been up to? What's your spring been like? Feel like I haven't talked to my Sarah Boone crew in a while. So hi, everyone. I missed you. Okay, so I am on the struggle bus today. I have shingles, so I'm going to be behind an avatar today. But my nose has been running and I've been crying because it's just so frustrating. I can't seem to get my autoimmunes under control. So anyway, I am struggling a little bit, so I'm going to be behind the avatar today. I have been trying to go on camera more, but not today. I'm going to get my screen together and we're going to go right into it. I wanted to let you know that we have been covering the Sarah Boone case for a while. We do have a playlist if you're interested. I will link everything that we view today in the YouTube show notes. So I will put them down in the YouTube show notes. You can go over there and take a peek at it at your leisure. We don't always watch everything in its entirety. I'll start things, stop it. I won't always read everything in its entirety, but we will put everything that we view over at the YouTube show notes. We do this for fair play use and to cite our sources. So we do have a nice little playlist of Sarah Boone content if you are interested. We've got shorts, we've got lives, we've got videos, we've got some collabs that we did. So yeah. So I'm guessing that you know who Sarah Boone is if you're here, but let's just do a quick little recap on who Miss Sarah Boone is.
Sarah. For everything you've done to me. Sarah. For everything you've done to me. Sarah. You. Sarah. You. Sarah. Stupid. Sarah. That's my name. Don't wear it up. Sarah. I can't breathe, babe. Seriously. Yeah, that's when you do when you choke me. Sarah. Sarah.
Orlando, Florida, regarding Sarah Boone. Honorable Judge Kranick. Finally, a new judge. It's strange how the Lord works. As I was in the process of trying to disqualify Wooden, I felt he was the ticket holder to my overly hyped, illicitly distributed, misconstrued criminal case. Do you think she just sits with a dictionary right next to her and she just closes her eyes and goes, what word am I going to use this time? Do you think she uses any chat GPT to help out with her letters? Sarah Boone is the Florida woman who committed the crime of zipping up her boyfriend on February 24th, 2020. She suffocated him by not allowing him out. Jorge Torres was the name of her boyfriend slash fiance, and she was convicted of life in prison, which I feel like Sarah Boone earned that life in prison because it didn't have to go down that way for Sarah Boone. It really did not. She could have easily taken that plea deal and been out in like 15 years, but instead that woman is going to spend the rest of her life in prison. I like to go over to Reddit to get some my Sarah Boone information. So over on Reddit, they're talking about a book. Is Sarah Boone possibly going to be writing a book? What do you guys think? This person says, would you read a book written by Sarah about her life and crime? Now, I don't know if Florida is one of those cases where you can profit off of your crime, because there used to be the Son of Sam laws, but I think a lot of states have found that those laws are unconstitutional. And I mean, look at Gypsy Rose. She's making money off of her crime. She wrote a book. So this person says, would you read a book written by Sarah about her life and crime? I don't know if I would read anything written by her because it would be lies. Sarah cannot tell the truth to save her life. I would like to read about George Torres Jr., something written by his family. We don't know much about him and the person he was. He was definitely not the person Sarah painted him to be. Just thinking and sharing. Thank you. Would you guys read a book written by Sarah Boone? I mean, it would be very interesting, probably. I would rather read a book by the Torres family, but I'm not going to lie, a Sarah Boone book would be very interesting. Let's see what people are saying. I would read a book about her, but not written by her. I wouldn't get past her use of the word futuristically. Phrase is like not intentional, ongoing, years, months, days, minutes, POS, former husband, and ridiculous. Ridiculous. She loved to say ridiculous, didn't she? And not intentional. Not intentional was the phrase of the day when I first saw her interrogation. This person says, yes, not by her or anyone she asked to pen for her. I would only read a book written by a well-known and respected true crime author who's done the research about both her and George and can be unbiased. So it seems like everybody is saying they would read a book about her, but not by her. I thought this was interesting too. People were talking about Lana, and as you know, Tanika's 2 cents and I did read some messages between Lana and Sarah while Sarah was awaiting trial. And this person says Lana really instigated all her BS almost to the point of obstruction. Do you think that Lana helped Sarah along with her BS? I think Sarah somehow appealed to Lana. Don't know how. Maybe something about Sarah's case. Lana was able to apply back to her life, and she was trying to give Sarah a chance. I don't know what it was about Lana, but Lana really did contribute a lot of money towards Sarah Boone, which was hard to see. This person says, well, she did get Owens on board, which made the appeal process a bit less precarious. As much as I wanted, that would have been rough to see, because it was rough to see Lori Vallow go through the trial process and not have a lawyer. Can't imagine watching Sarah Boone do it. But this person says that Owens was the lawyer that she eventually got Sarah. Sarah Boone went through eight or nine lawyers. As much as I wanted to see her defend herself, I agree wholeheartedly with the judge on that one. I was worried that one guilty verdict would be overturned for the reason. I was worried about that too. So I don't have any sense of the strength of the case law that was cited, but so many law tubers squawked about it that I was concerned. As you're watching Tanika's 2 cents, the shenanigans are insane. Lana certainly did a lot, it seems, and much more than we might have suspected, calling and emailing the judge and the governor, working with the Delphine group so far, winding Sarah up and putting a lot of thoughts in her head. I'm glad that they didn't go with the S&M defense, but Lana sure thought that it was a winner. She seems like a lonely, sick lady that got a lot of attention from a famous person. Sarah love-bombed her, and she was clearly using her, but Lana climbed into the pig pen and wallowed in the muck quite willingly. I don't have much pity for her, and since Sarah dropped her after the verdict anyway, I think she learned her lessons. But who dropped who after the verdict? I'm just wondering. I'm wondering who dropped who. Did Lana wake up and realize what a POS Sarah was after that I forgive everybody speech? This person says, have you seen her letter turning on Owens yet? And this person says, I have. It's the one, see, I haven't read all of the texts between Lana and Sarah. I kind of want to get back into reading them again. But didn't take long. I think he went into hiding. I would really like to know what the financial deal is. I suspect he was hoping to cash in on the notoriety, but he got so much blowback for his own shadiness that any goodwill has canceled out. Maybe she told him that she had tens of thousands of alimony arrests coming. Did Sarah really drop Lana after the verdict? I don't know that. I thought maybe she'd keep her for commissary funds. Lana has been in the chat saying that she did something Sarah didn't like and they were no longer on speaking terms. I had heard that Sarah was angry that Lana didn't believe that Sarah, was 100% innocent by all accounts. Lana is regretful about what happened. I don't imagine it would be pleasant to see her behavior on display. Thank you for letting me know. Lana actually has Facebook messaged me. I should ask her, see if she will tell me why they are no longer friends. I think she's my Facebook friend now. Even without Lana, she still has what Tanika calls flying monkeys. Given the evidence of how Sarah spoke, treated everyone behind her backs, I wonder why they stick around. There is still some talk in recent texts and whatnot about her needing someone to carry power of attorney outside so that she can access any funds that she gets from family court. Not that I think she will get any. I hope she doesn't get any. I wouldn't trust any of the monkeys not to take the money and run. If her brother isn't already gone, I'd be surprised. This was 12 days ago, so not sure when her next family court date is. We're going to take a look at some of the family court stuff that she's been getting into. What do you guys think about Lana? I wonder if Lana has any good information about Sarah that nobody knows. So the most recent information that I've noticed about Sarah Boone was that there is some family, or not family, some in her court case, there were sidebars, lots of them. And those sidebars have been recently released. Here are some of the sidebars that over on Reddit that they found interesting. Mr. Owens, who is the lawyer, Sarah's lawyer, please ask the jury to go out. She's weeping and crying. I'm going to ask for a mistrial if she's not allowed. If the jury is not allowed to go out, the court, hang on, Mr. Owens, hang on. Oh boy. Who knew that these sidebars were so spicy? Mr. Cacciatore, I don't think we need to do that. Just give me the opportunity to go over there and ask her to step out of the courtroom. Mr. Owens, hell no, no. She's belling over, crying, sobbing. Mr. Cacciatore, she's leaving. Mr. Owens, judge, please let the jury go out. Mr. Cacciatore, she's leaving. So there was a little bit of drama, I would say, going on over on the sidebars. These people are saying that Sarah found the perfect lawyer, cold-blooded, heartless, and self-absorbed, just like Sarah. It all makes sense now that we know Owen's history. She finally got the attorney she deserved. Seriously, though, I would read a book by Owens. You know how Jodi Arias's lawyer, he wrote a book, and they were like, well, if you do that, we're gonna like disbar you. And he's like, fine, take my law license. I can make more off of this book than I can off of being a public representative or whatever. Hey, Shauna says she hasn't always done that way. She was a good person at one. She hasn't always been that way. Are you talking about Sarah or Lana? I don't think Lana's a bad person, if that's who you're talking about. You think Sarah was a good person at one point? I mean, I think everybody has goodness and bad to them. I mean, now that Sarah's I really don't think Sarah needs to be away in prison for the rest of her life, but I think it's pretty ironic that she did it to herself. And so it's like, what do you do or say to that? But no, I don't think Sarah deserves to be in prison the rest of her life. But I mean, she's quickly becoming institutionalized, so she seems to be settling in pretty well. I would definitely read a book by Owens, and it would be I really suspect that Owens is going to be reading or writing a book. One of my favorite people to watch covering the Sarah Boone case is Reporting Live from My Sofa. He goes in and he starts covering the sidebars. I thought we would watch a little bit of his. We won't watch it all, of course, and we will put the link down in the show notes. Be sure to give this live a thumbs up if you like my content. Be sure to subscribe. We are so close to hitting 7K. I think we're like 25 away. So check to see if you're subscribed. And if you're not, please subscribe. She was made to be that way. I mean, she was abused by him. He was not the best person in the world either. No, he wasn't the best person in the world, but didn't deserve to be zipped up in a suitcase and beat with a bat. So you're not going to make me believe that a good person did what Sarah Boone did. Sarah Boone is not a good person. She's not like 100% bad, but Sarah Boone is Sarah freaking Boone. She is definitely got issues. So this is I like to do a little Gen X humor, and this guy really appeals to my Gen X sense of humor. So let's get into it.
Match the disturbing phone evidence. Sarah would then make her way through the court system, representing herself, and drag this out for years until she was finally found.
Let me see. Did I misunderstand what you were saying? No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying in a bad drunken stage, she made the wrong decisions. I agree. I don't think Sarah Boone, I'm not one of those people that think Sarah Boone did it on purpose. I think she was in a complete blackout, doesn't know, and I don't believe Sarah Boone should be away in prison. I mean, I've said this a few times today already. I don't think she belongs in there for life, but she really worked herself into that situation. But I have empathy for most people, and I do have some empathy for Sarah Boone having to be there for life. And I do believe that George was abusive to her and she was abusive to him. It was like a cycle. There are abusive relationships where both partners are abusing one another and they both just need to not be together. And that was this situation. And it's a horrible situation. Yeah, she probably hasn't always been that way. I mean, we've looked at her past and we saw that she is indeed pretty intelligent. She was on that game show. And I mean, at one point she had a family and marriage. And I don't know. Like, substances do horrible things to people. They can turn you into somebody you are not. But Sarah Boone wasn't drunk when she was going through this whole court process. So Sarah Boone definitely has some kind of mental, my background is my BA is in sociology and psychology, and I wouldn't diagnose her, but I could throw out some things that I definitely think she has going on in her life. And yeah, the alcohol probably didn't help her mental diagnosis, if maybe even created it. So
found guilty and convicted and sentenced to life in prison. Now, like I said, recently they released these transcripts on the old myorangeclerk.com. Thank y'all very much. And in these, it was like almost 2,600 pages of just the transcript of the trial or whatever, right? And in those were the sidebars. So what I'm going to do is I pull them up, I'll put them on the screen, and I'm just going to be reading them. Now, some of them you'll see where I took it like the page before the sidebar, just to give you some context of this is what we're doing or whatever. So it will jump obviously from thing to thing because I've literally pulled the page and then gone from there.
I have never seen anything like this where the sidebars have been released later. Has anyone else caught this in a case where the sidebars are later released? Because I just assumed that we were never going to get the sidebars.
I'll be doing my voices, I'll be doing my reading, I'll be doing my things. Okay, so just bear with me. So go ahead, buckle up, and let's jump in. Okay, so let's start off with the first page here. I'm going to put it up on the screen now. Members of our jury, if you could raise your paddles if you recognize the name of any persons that have been introduced so far. Okay, juror number 27, 38, and 35. Juror number 27, who do you recognize? Veneer badge 102. Look, I don't know what she's called. Okay, but her. Okay, Sarah Boone. Juror number 35. Veneer badge 664. Sarah Boone. The court. Okay, and juror number 38. Veneer badge 819. Sarah Boone. The court. Okay, can the parties approach for a moment at the bench? The court. Do we want to go ahead and address those specific persons now? Mr. J. No. The court. Okay, the state, or I'm sorry, defense. Mr. Henderson. Now? I mean, you mean now, Judge? You mean call them up individually? The court. Individually, correct. Mr. Henderson. I'm all right with doing that at this time, but if the state wants to wait. The court. All right, we'll make a note and we'll circle back on them because they may have other conflicts. Okay. Thank you both. Okay, go ahead and list those persons, please. Mr. J, may we approach the court? Yes, sir. Mr. J, before he lists anybody from the state attorney's office, I would just like to object and point out that our protective order was granted. The court. Response? Mr. Owens. Well, now, depending on your order, should I even mention the names? I'm probably going to try to proffer that testimony outside the presence of the jury for preserving the record on the issue, but the court. Identify for me those custodians of records were. Was it the same ones identified in the state's motion? Mr. Owens. No. Now, in the state's motion, I listed Christina Mills, domestic violence supervisor, Aaron McCauley, director of victim services, Matt Storch, misdemeanor supervisor, Ibrahim Kazim Asa Lawton was the assistant state attorney. Mr. J, we object to the names being listed. It's confusing to the jury that people from the state attorney's office would be listed as a witness when they're not being called. The court, are those persons going to be called? Mr. Owens, wait now? Remember, Judge, you had entered an order saying disallow their testimony. The court, but the state's motion pertained to the records custodians. It didn't identify specific people. Mr. J, no, it's about these people. They issued subpoenas for the head of our victim advocacy. They issued subpoenas for former and current prosecutors, and I objected based on fact and opinion work product. Mr. Owens, Judge, you'll remember we were attempting to get in the record that the state attorney has ultimate power. The court, I recall, Mr. Owens, to dismiss the case or not. And we believe one or more of those people are going to be able to establish that. Okay, boy? The court. Okay, all right. Well, look, give me a second here. I just want to go back and look at that. It was through a notice, was it not, Mr. J? Mr. J, I'm sorry? The court. It was through a notice, was it? It wasn't your motion and mine? There it is, there. Okay, yes. There's the state's request for a protective order. So unless I'm missing something, and please forgive me if I am, the state's request for protective order filed September 30th identified custodian of records, Orange County, Office of the State Attorney, Domestic Violence Supervisor, Victim Advocate Supervisor, and Misdemeanor Supervisor.
Okay, so I was trying to find a break there. I don't remember this sidebar, so I can't really say too much about what they're talking about. Does anyone else remember when they had this sidebar during the court testimony? We are talking about the sidebars that were recently released. We're looking at one of the channels that covered it. I think what I'm going to have to do is go in and read the sidebars and go in, and what I want to do is grab during the trial and try to find when these sidebars are taking place and what they're in relation to. So let's keep going. Let's move on and take a look at some of the other things that I wanted to look at. There was a new channel that I noticed putting out some Sarah Boone content that I wanted to take a look at. Her name is Summa Cum Loudmouth. And this was a funny video that she did where these are Sarah Boone's last words in court. She's so classy. And then this is the woman, this is the Summa Cum Loudmouth, and she is talking about Lana and more questions than answers. This was when Tanika's 2 cents was reading the text messages. I joined in a couple times and read with Tanika, and this is what she had to say about Lana.
And she answers a lot of questions about dialysis, so that is valid. She talks about having had one transplant, and she's a huge Game of Thrones fan, which I don't watch, but I know that people like it. And she answered one kind of politically leaning question, and she starts out or ends it with saying that she hates politics, but her response and what she says is quite liberal, which almost surprised me at how much it surprised me, because we all have preconceived notions that we are sometimes not even aware of. And I just thought, I just don't see, I mean, in my mind, for whatever reason that I have these preconceived notions, I imagine, a soft citizen or a QAnon or like a real right wing, that's who would want to reach out to Sarah Boone, not some liberal, nice lady in Minnesota. Like,
I don't know. I would hear Minnesota, and I guess I would think right wing too for some reason. Does it surprise you that Lana seems like she's a liberal woman helping out Sarah Boone?
But there we are at the question why. Not that I understand why anyone would want to really.
Lana is a fascinating character in this case to me. There's certain characters in every case that I think come out of the woodwork or somehow become part of the case, and they're just interesting. And Lana's one of those.
So I found that interesting, and it also kind of shows us that she is telling the truth about her kidney issues. And I mean, at first I didn't want her to be. My best friend and I were talking about it, and she was like, it bothers me that she's been honest for some reason. Like, I was hoping, because we were like, she's not married, she didn't have a kid, she didn't have a kidney thing. We were just, because it just didn't seem like, why? So here we are. She is who she says she is. And unfortunately, she does have serious kidney issues. And I watched all of Tanika's 2 cents lives and videos on her tablet texts. And aside from still being not surprised but shocked at how nasty she is to Brian and anyone she's nasty to, and how boring and nice she is to everyone who's as she's kissing. That's just the usual. I had, of course, a lot of thoughts about Lana. I thought that last live chat that Tanika did that we were all on. Thank you for saying hi. That was really fun. Was very enlightening, and some of the things that I took away about Lana is that Lana is, I think, first of all, I think Lana is a decent person, and I don't think she's working any angle. I think she genuinely wanted to help Sarah.
I agree.
Why? Once again, why? I do not know.
I
But
think Lana was a generally nice person, kind of got wrapped up in the whole, like, maybe I am talking to someone famous, quote unquote. And yeah, and maybe got wrapped up in the whole conspiracy theory of it all. So I think, when did I report on it? When did I put this out? A month ago, I noticed that Sarah Boone got transferred.
Oh, you can't find this in the store. Not this, baby. This right here. This is customized. You better get like me.
So she was moved per online search to the Lowell Annex. And so I went searching, and Tanika's 2 cents talks about why she was probably moved. And here we go into the flying monkeys that we read about earlier in the Reddit.
If you're in harm's way. Okay, so first, I can tell you why the reason how do I want to say that? I can't tell you why she was moved, but I can tell you, I can help eliminate some reasons why she might have been moved, right? Miss Sarah Boone. So 1/31, so the end of January, she was transferred to the Correctional Institute, which is the main campus there. And then this month on the 4th, she was transferred to Lowell Annex. So from the CI, and she had been there temporarily at the Annex before on her way to the main.
Now, we did interview Lindsay, who was an inmate at the same prison, and she talked about how they often will come through the Annex and then will get moved to their permanent placement. So I'm guessing that's what happened. She was just put into her permanent placement
building, but not for, you can see here, 1/31, it was the same day. And then she stayed there for 2 months, basically, because you figure February 1 to April 4th is about 2 months, right? So why? So I asked for the disciplinary records. There's nothing. Not for her entire time there. I asked for it from December 30th of 2024 till present. They pulled this for me on the 24th. And so no disciplinary action. So I feel I can safely say that she wasn't misbehaving. Well, she's always misbehaving, but nothing to warrant her moving over to the Annex. Her custody is still close. She got that when she was in the reception center. No control release date or record. She's never getting out. So I think that's just something they put on there in case they are getting out. But the Annex is like where the death row women are and the women doing life. So she's in good company. I do hear it has AC though. So she's probably excited about that. Whereas the main unit did not have AC. If anybody knows different, definitely let us know in the comments down below. Internal movements as of 4/24. So we went through all of those, but they add in her jobs, right? So February 6th, when she was in the main unit, her first job assignment was houseman. I've asked like a million times if they can give me a description of the jobs. And for some reason, that's not public information. I tried multiple times because different people answer the request and you get different things from them. Like one person gave me her commissary. The other one was like, oh, you can't have that. So clearly it's not consistent. At any rate, so she was the houseman, and then on the 27th of February, she became a clerk education, right? And so we thought, oh, she has access to a computer. Remember, she did that software, the Mavis software for typing and something else. A lot of us learned on Mavis. And then So we were wondering, well, did she move because of her job? Well, when they transferred her, she was unassigned for a job, you see here, right? Open. And then 6 days later, she went back to houseman. So I'm going to say she was not transferred for her job. And this report, again, was generated on the 24th. So she hasn't been moved. It still would be within the range.
So with these flying monkeys, are any of these flying monkeys out there giving interviews? Do we know this about anything? Does anyone know? Like, are these flying monkeys talking, or what's going on?
If she got moved, because here, what was that, 11 days? And we're only 6 days. Sorry, they're doing construction on the roof. Now the girls are going to go crazy. I'm on the top floor, so I just... Anyway, okay. So it's not because of her actions or discipline. No. No. Come here, Justice. Not because of her actions, not because of her job, but she did get AC. I'm guessing it's more to do with her classification, and maybe they didn't have room previously, but that is just a guess. Open to all other guesses and speculation. Okay, so then we're going to go here, which is, let me make this a little larger. We've seen this before, but it gets updated every time she gets a new person. I don't get the details of these, which I wish I would, but let's just go through it. So Lana is on here as info only. She did not apply for visitation. As I understand it, in order to, in that first, I think it's like 30 days, there's X amount of days when you first get moved, people can send you money and commissary and packages. But after that, they have to be on this list in order to have things received from them. And so Lana was giving Sarah money. I say was because they haven't spoken, and we'll look at that when we get to the call log. But I think I know who the new Lana is. Then her son is info
there's
only.
a new Lana.
Hopefully she's not talked him into sending her Zuzus and Wham Whams. Let him have his.
Oh, okay. So her son is info only. It looks like there is somebody named Nicole Fiberger. I don't know. Peter Gunther, Brenda LaFontaine, David LaFontaine. Who are these people, I wonder?
Once we saw in the
father deceased is the brother approved. So the brother is still on board, looks like. Let's go forward. I will put the link if you want to watch Tanika's entire live. Let's see.
All right, let's look at these phone logs. I'm going to go through them quickly, mainly because I got to hop in the shower.
I want to see where Lana is on here.
We see the one that, and then there's one that says no ID, which ends in the 88, where I think the one that's the son's ends in 01. Anyway, so not accepted from who I believe is the son. And then she called Julian Delapine, who is Peter's business partner, not accepted. Then this one, whoever this is with the no ID 88, hung up. Is it CP? Is that the inmate? I can't remember. Anyway, they talked for 10 minutes and then somebody hung up. And then she called Julian again on the 20th at 12:44. Nada. This one, the RI VoIP. I think this is Nicole. So they talked for 30 minutes. She called at 11 in the morning.
Nicole, the new Lana? Is that what I'm picking up? That we have Nicole being the new Lana? I did miss the very beginning when she was saying who these people were.
I think he's the new Lana. I think he's the one. If I'm frazzled, he's frazzled, and that's no good for any of us. I'm hoping he'll sleep on the flight. Okay, so here we go. Here's Peter again. We are going to see him quite a bit on here. I think
Peter?
he's the new Lana. I think he's the one that, because we don't see Lana at all. I also think I found Nicole. I already said that, right? So I think Peter and Nicole are helping her write her silly emotions and just not being honest with her because she speaks with them most frequently. But let's look. So
okay, so Peter and Nicole are the new Lana.
I'm going to go in reverse just because I don't want to do the weird scroll thing. So the 20th.
Who's Peter, though?
Inmate hung up. They did not speak.
Is he a lawyer?
Also on the 20th at 17:57, they talked for almost 30 minutes. Again, on the 20th, they talked for almost 30 minutes. And then Brian Boone, not accepted. So I wonder if they push a button to say not accepted versus not answered. Do you know what I mean? Like, because they have that, when we listen to those phone calls, like, if you accept this call, press blah, blah, blah. If you don't accept it. So I'm thinking he's pressing like not accepted, not accepted. Then we have another number not accepted at 1632. I feel like this is her son's number.
When would he ever want to accept a phone call from Sarah Boone? Like, seems like they would be all not accepted.
Peter 0, Brian 000, AT&T that ends in the 01. Again, I think that's the son, not accepted. So on the 18th, Brian didn't accept. And like, why would she need to talk to him every day? You already talked to him once for 5 minutes. Like, that's not good for the month, girl. Y'all not friends. Free Brian Boone, I swear. Hashtag free Brian Boone.
Right? Free
no
Brian
ID,
Boone.
no ID. One was not accepted, and then there was a call.
Hold on 1 second, you guys. I think Jen is here. Hey, Jen.
Hey, guys. Sorry I'm late.
Oh, it's okay. We are actually now just over here going through Sarah Boone's phone call, her prison phone calls. She has been talking to, there is a new, well, how much do you know about the Sarah Boone case? I don't even know.
I am brand new to this, so you guys are going to school me on everything. I love sometimes coming into a case totally fresh.
Well, we are actually 50 minutes in, so I'm like wrapping it up on the phone calls. We've just been talking about Sarah Boone, and she has people on the outside that have been helping her, and Tanika's 2 Cents is a channel that really covers Sarah Boone heavily and gets a lot of the good information. And we did a collab together, Tanika and I, and she had text messages from Sarah Boone to Lana, who was giving her lots and lots of money. And apparently there was a falling out. Lana has texted me or messaged me over on Facebook. I don't know the story. I'm going to ask her and see if she'll tell me what the story is. But there's a new Lana, and Peter is the new Lana that's giving her money and probably bad advice too.
Okay.
But Sarah Boone is a case where I don't think Sarah should have gotten a life sentence, but she did it to herself. Like, she decided.
Where is she serving her term now?
She's in Lowell prison in Florida. Okay. She's where the death row inmates are.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. But Tanika was just reporting that she now has air conditioning at least.
Oof.
Sarah Boone is the person who zipped her boyfriend. Do you know what Sarah did?
No, you can recap me. I guess I thought I had her mixed up with Karen Reed, actually.
Oh, did you? This is Sarah Boone zipped her boyfriend up in a suitcase. She says they were playing.
Oh, yes. Okay, I know this one.
And he begged to be let out. It came out in trial that not only did she zip him up in the suitcase, but she pushed him down the stairs, and then she beat him with a bat while he was in the suitcase when he tried to put his fingers out.
Wow.
For everything you've done to me. Sarah. For everything you've done to me. Sarah. You. Sarah. You. Sarah. Stupid. Sarah. That's my name. Don't wear it up.
I can't even imagine. That seems like that would be my worst nightmare, just begging to be let out. And the person who
She
supposedly
didn't upload these online or anything. These were just on her phone.
Yeah, I don't think
They
some
found them
people
later.
think that she did it on purpose. I don't think she did it on purpose. I think she was in a blackout, drunk, and I think she did pass out and forget that he was in there. And I think she forgot she took the pictures, or she thought she deleted them and didn't realize she didn't. One of the two.
Wow. I mean, he does. Can you play it again? He sounds kind of calm.
Sarah, I can't breathe, babe. Seriously. Yeah, that's when you do when you choke me, Sarah.
I think he's just trying to appeal to her sensibility. Like, come on, this game's over.
For
Let's
everything
go.
you've done to me,
Ha
Sarah.
let me out.
For everything you've done to me, Sarah.
Yeah, I mean, I would be in a panic.
If you see some of Sarah Boone and his court stuff, you know that the more he would engage with her, the angrier she would get. So it was almost better for him to like play dad type of deal, you know, like don't act like, you know, what she's doing is going to bother you. Try not to set her off type deal.
That's terrible.
What have you been doing tonight?
Checking the chat. I went to a carnival with the kids. You know, I was just thinking, since you brought up her being in prison at one of the worst. Did you say it's one of the worst in Florida prisons?
Yeah.
Remember when we were talking to Jamie the other night and she was telling us how terrible the prison Chris was in? I got an alert that they actually fired like the main guy working in that prison. And for exactly what Jamie was saying, like they are not taking very good care of the prisoners there. And I was like,
yeah. Oh, we've covered like how awful that prison is and how people were dying. But over at the prison in Florida, we've had an ex-prisoner that was actually, she's a YouTube creator. We've had her on and we've talked to her about the conditions in the prison. And there's been water issues where they were stuck in bad water for like 2 or 3 years. They were giving the prisoners, just leaving them in dirty water. And there's been where the inmates have been raped and abused, and it's a bad situation.
Yeah, apparently an inmate died, and that was kind of why this case was launched. And it was just really interesting because Jamie was just talking about that, and then like a week later, boom, they decided they're getting rid of people and making changes. So I'm assuming Chris Watts is going to see some new faces there.
He's probably going to be seeing Dylan pretty soon. Right?
Yes, that I think will be super interesting. Because as Jamie told us, they haven't seen each other since that Cell Next Door was released. And I wonder if Chris knows he wrote that out of spite. So I'm pretty sure that encounter is going to be awkward for the first time.
I kind of feel like they're going to become friends, though, because, I mean, what else does Chris have to do? But,
yeah,
there's probably not a whole lot of people that like him anyway. So I think he will let Dylan back into his graces, but who knows? Getting back to Sarah, this is the inmate that was at the same facility that we interviewed.
And so if you're good, and if you're in prison and you're good and you work like you're supposed to, you get those 5 days off a month. And so, it's a different experience in there.
So it was quite a shock that that's where you would be going for the next 11 months of your life. She also talked about how surprisingly the food is really good there.
Wow.
This is where the Florida new prison well could be contaminated, but they let the women keep drinking the water.
That is a lawsuit waiting to happen.
Is it though? I feel like all these prisons are getting away with stuff, and
If they know about it, yeah, because they could be providing them with bottled water to be drinking. You know, not necessarily do they need to do anything about like the showering and all of that. But if they find it, let's say like one of these prisoners gets cancer and they can link it back to some toxic thing in the water. And where I kind of get this information from is, do you remember in Michigan, because you're from there too, originally, remember the Flint water scandal?
Yeah. Yeah.
I believe there was some lawsuits too, involving some inmates too.
Oh, there was.
Not given, like, you know, they were bringing water in to the residents when they were trying to clean all that up. I still don't even think they have it all.
There's a docu-series on the police officers.
Yes, that's great on Netflix.
Yeah. And I had a friend, because I was doing some acting during that time, and I had a friend that lived in Flint, and he was talking about the water.
Yeah. Flint is rough. It's actually worse than Detroit. And I think a lot of people think more of Detroit than they think of Flint.
Yeah, I know. People don't realize that Pontiac and Flint are, I would say, worse than Detroit.
Definitely. Sarah Boone, is she originally from Florida? I'm trying to catch up and kind of do research on her here.
Sarah Boone lived somewhere else, but they moved to Florida when she was really young. Okay. So I don't remember what state they moved from, but I feel like Sarah Boone got into alcohol, and I think it changed her. I think it changed who she was as a person.
And is George her boyfriend?
George was her boyfriend / fiance, and they lived together. George was from Pennsylvania, but moved, I think his kids still lived in Pennsylvania. His family lived in Florida. Yeah. George was an alcoholic too. They were both alcoholics, and they were both abusing one another. George had been arrested a few times. Sarah had been arrested a few times for domestic violence. They were just two people that should have not been together anymore.
Yeah.
It was getting
very
violent.
I mean, there's some people I think that are like toxic for you that will not bring out traits in you normally. If you were with someone else, if that makes sense. Like, you know how they say, like, you make me the best version of me. And then I think there's people that make you the worst version of yourself too. And it sounds like that was their relationship.
Well, Sarah had a lot of power in the relationship because it was her apartment. It was her car. You know, she was getting the alimony from her ex-husband. So Sarah was, I think, the one with the money. And, it wasn't your typical, like, she wasn't depending on him for much.
He only weighed 103 pounds.
103 pounds? Yeah, he was tiny. She's tiny and he was tiny. That was one of the surprising things in the case. He was just so tiny. I was like,
because I'm like, how the hell did she get him in a suitcase? That makes sense.
Yeah, and I mean, I don't think they know the rules of the game of hide and seek, because if you know someone's hiding somewhere, it's not hide and seek. So I don't think they were playing hide and seek. There was photos of Sarah Boone's son who they guess they were playing with him and he got in a suitcase and there was a photo of him in the suitcase and they were taking a picture. Everyone was laughing. So I'm pretty sure that's where she probably got the idea from. That they had played this game before, whatever game it is.
Yeah, it kind of reminds me of like, you know, you've heard that story of like where kids get locked in a trunk, you know, and then they can't get out. Like this,
Yeah.
I feel like this story makes me think of that panicked feeling where you get stuck and can't get out.
I feel like if it was by the stairs, maybe they were using it to ride up and down the stairs, like ride down the stairs. Because I know in college, like we used to use we have these hardwood stairs and we'd ride sleds down them. So
Yeah.
I mean, you know, and when we were drunk, that's what we did. And so maybe they were drunk and doing that kind of stuff. I don't know. I just think
you got to factor in the alcohol too, and if there were if there was drug use. Too, where they would think this is funny.
Yeah, because their teeth was really bad. His teeth was really bad, so I don't know if there was more drug use or if it was just
Like
straight
meth
alcohol.
or something.
Yeah. But she just would not take responsibility for any of it. And I think that she got a plea deal. She was offered I think it was 14 years and she had already served 4 years. She was offered 14 and she had already served 4 or 5 years. So, and with good behavior, she would have probably got out in like 7 or 8 more years, but nope. She decided to take it to trial. She's like, I'm going to shoot my shot. I'm going to get my 15 seconds of fame. I'm going to ruin my life. And that's what she did. And she got life.
It's crazy, like the risk people take when they decide to do a trial, you know, like you go back to like the whole Chris Watts thing too. It's like, it could have turned out so much differently if they would have taken that to trial. I think he probably could have got off. Thank God he didn't. And he just...
I don't think he would have got off.
Shit. I think he could have blamed Thrive and got some type of...
I don't think he would have got off.
Into
maybe
like a mental facility. Or... if he blamed someone else for all of it. I mean, I don't know. You know, I just feel like luckily that didn't happen. But
I just feel like it was a pretty slam dunk case with Chris. Luckily he was afraid of the death penalty. This is what I think, that he was afraid of the death penalty. And also he didn't want his bad deeds. And then it dawned on me the other day that maybe his family had some bad deeds and he didn't want their stuff coming out.
Yeah.
You know, because every family has bad shit.
Yeah.
But,
I mean, like, look at all the crap that has come out about, you know, I was thinking about it the other day because I got so much backlash about that armchair detective video I did. And I was like, and it was very like, I read Alan's statement and I read Frankie's statement. You know, it was very like, here's his side, here's his. And I thought to myself, I cannot imagine being Frankie and having everything in my past be brought out for the public to, you know, like his criminal record, things like that, or like coming into light because his sister was murdered, you know, like it's just so much comes out because of these cases. And it's like, it really makes you think like nothing is sacred anymore. No. You know, your text messages aren't sacred, nothing. People are going to go through your phone. If you get involved in an investigation, like emails, nothing is safe.
Yeah, you just have to live your life the best way possible, I think, and just, you know.
Yeah, you really
assume
do.
that if you're doing bad deeds, that it could come to light. I've lived a crazy life. I've lived a wild life. I've been I'm a Gen Xer. I was out there doing crazy stuff. I had a fake ID. I was out in the bars when I was 14. I was doing it. So
See, I feel like that was normal. Like I know our we have a little bit of an age gap, but not much.
No.
But I feel like that was normal, Amy, and like you got into trouble, but we didn't have people live streaming in bars. You know, like MySpace was just coming out.
Yes.
But we didn't have people like taking a million pictures of everything we did. And I have a niece now who's 22 years old. And when she started college, she actually just graduated with her master's yesterday. I'm so proud of her. But she's a straight, narrow kid. But I remember when she started, I go, never let your friends take pictures of you drinking.
No.
Never. Like, I know you're having fun, but you never. And she wants to go into politics. And I was like, never, ever let people take pictures of you. And that was even before social media is like it is now. You know, like now everyone's streaming live at events. I can't imagine.
I can't either. I can't. So I try not to judge too harshly because I was out there doing crazy shit too. And I know. So, but I don't like, I'm at that point where I don't need to do crazy shit anymore. Like, I don't need that.
No, I
I think I needed it. I wanted to do it because I just wanted to feel something and I wanted to have fun. And I mean, now I know like there's ways to enjoy yourself without the risk of getting into trouble.
Yeah, it's like, I always find it funny. I have some girlfriends who got married to like their first high school love, and I really feel bad for them. Like, as much as that's a beautiful story, I just feel like you missed out on going out and like partying and like flirting and, you know, like having fun. And I feel bad for them sometimes, to be honest with you, because I would never go back to that time in my life. I'm too tired. You know, I'm in bed right now. But I think about like, you know, it was
a lot of work going out. Yeah, it was a lot of fun. It was a lot of work. I kind of feel like I'm entering into another era of going out and having fun, but doing it in a different way, like being in bed by 9 type of way. Yeah. Just going out during the day and having fun. And yeah.
Yeah, I'm physically starting to get to the point where like I can go take the kids and go out and do things again when I wasn't able to pretty much walk, you know, a year ago at this time. So it feels like really good. You know, like today we went to the festival and I was like, I feel like a mom again. You know, it's exciting.
Yay.
So,
yeah.
Does Sarah Boone have kids?
Sarah Boone does have a child. We don't say his name because he is underage, and she gives him a lot of drama and a hard time, and we feel horrible for her son and her ex-husband because she harasses them quite a bit.
And does the dad have custody now?
Yeah, the dad actually pretty much had custody before this all happened. Sarah had visitation, but he was always having to call to make sure that she was going to be there to be with the son. And she would be found passed out on her lawn, and it was a lot.
Wow.
It was a lot when she was free. I don't know if it's easier for him now that she's in prison, because he can just like say, no, I'm not taking your phone calls. But she's got him in family court. She's trying to get money from him because she still thinks that she deserves to get spousal support.
For what? Buying snacks or what?
I don't know. That was another thing during trial. She thought that she should get like money for snacks. Like she thought they should bring snacks to her before court.
Wait, was this the story like of the like she expected the attorneys to bring stuff for her?
Yeah, she wanted a beauty crew and snacks
Wow.
because this was her moment.
Yeah. It's interesting too, some of these women who go on trial, like I don't know if you watched that whole case with the Anna Delvey, the
Yes, love
she
that
had
one.
like a whole crew picking
Yes.
outfits out for her. And it is interesting that I feel like it's this generation. Like this wouldn't have happened back with Casey Anthony type thing. It's
I think
only
Lori Vallow had at her first trial. I think she had someone picking out her outfits too.
yeah, it's
Was
like
this
I feel like
something-
it's this new trend where yes, you could be putting a bad name with your company, but they almost feel like even bad publicity is good publicity type thing.
Well, the way you look does matter in court.
Sure.
That really does matter. So, I understand wanting to look a certain way. I noticed, and did you hear about the Carly Gregg case where she was the little girl who shot her mother
No.
after school? I thought she was like
Oh wait,
14
she's a
or
teenager.
15. Yeah, and I
Yes,
think
I
she got the
watched.
idea from Gypsy Rose, but I feel like they dressed her up in her school uniform to make her look young and innocent. And so there are ways where they dress the people so that they look a certain way. Hey, Rosie, how are you doing?
The thing with that is that surveillance or the video in the house, that right there just shows how cold-blooded you are. I mean, like, I don't care how you dress. The fact that she like walked in there like nothing, and then walked out after the shooting happened, I was floored by that.
Yeah. And the way she played with the dogs and she called her friend over. Man, to be that friend, that would be like trauma.
Yeah, for sure.
I think I'm walking around with trauma. I can't even imagine.
Yeah, it is. It's scary. It's terrifying. And then I remember her like kind of crying after after the court thing, and I'm like, you killed someone. Like this is not a little misdemeanor here. This is a murder. So
I'm still not really, I don't like charging the kids with the adult
being
crimes.
charged
So
as an adult.
yeah, I don't really like that because we're not allowing them to act as adults before their crimes. So why are we all of a sudden going to be like, oh, you're doing adult behaviors. Now you're an adult. Well,
I feel like with these school shootings, like we have one here locally actually where the dad had the gun in the house and the boy had access to it. So he used the weapon, and the dad is actually facing charges. And this is the second case in our country besides the Oxford shooting that happened in Michigan, where they're actually holding the parent accountable.
yeah.
I think this is going to be like an interesting twist.
I agree with that. So I think that the parents
I do
should.
too.
My growing up, my stepdad was a police officer. He was retired. He was then a bodyguard, but we always had a gun in our house that wasn't locked up at all. I mean, and he was an ex-police officer, and he should, they should know better. So I think it's a very common thing to have an unattended gun or pew pew. I keep saying, can't say the word. In our homes in America and it not be locked up. It's very common.
Yeah, in some states here in Georgia, I do believe they give you free lock boxes if you have children in the home. So there's almost no excuse not to go get that free lock box. But yeah, they're going to charge him as an adult, the shooter here locally, and I agree with it because he plotted and planned it.
How old is he?
He is 17.
Well, see,
But then
that's
the
a little
Oxford
different.
shooting,
17 is way different than 14. There's
yeah.
years are like months are a huge difference when you're a kid.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I mean, even like 13 to 16 is a huge change.
Mhm.
Because I always remember being younger and like being 13 and we would hang out with 16-year-olds. And then when you get older and you look back, you're kind of like, that's kind of weird, like creepy a little bit. Or like, you know, we would always go like roller skating was our thing when we were younger. And all the older guys would talk to us and we thought it was cool. And then when you get older to that age, you're like, that is really creepy to
Yeah.
think about.
Yeah, I remember in college, a lot of the guys, like when the high school seniors would come for the senior seminar or whatever, they would get all excited because, you know, the incoming freshmen for next year were coming. And at the time, it didn't seem weird, but now I look back and I'm like, that's weird. I mean, they were like 17 years old.
Yeah. And it's like your mindset is just different. But also I think kids are progressing a little faster these days. I need to get hip to that so that I'm prepared. But like some of the stories my friends are telling me that, you know, they're 13 and 12-year-old are talking about, I'm like, you have to be kidding me. But that I blame on, you know, this generation of TikTok and all of that.
Yeah. I don't know. Something is going to have to give because our society is really circling the drain with the way we're treating our kids.
I need to follow Rose. I've been meaning to do that.
Well, I think that's all I have on the Sarah Boone case. I do want to read the sidebars, but there's so many of them that I think I need to just do an entire video on it because there's how much 240 odd pages of it or something like that. I didn't know. I've never heard of people of the sidebars being released afterwards. I didn't know that they eventually released sidebars. Did you know that?
No.
Or maybe it's just a Florida thing.
Yeah, it could be.
Because they release everything. But it was proving that James Owens, or her attorney, this Owens guy that she got by writing this help wanted sign for the public, was just as dramatic as anything else in this trial and was just perfect for Sarah Boone. So there's that.
That's interesting. Well, yeah, if you do a video on the sidebars, I'd love that so I can catch up on everything.
Yeah. So guys, tomorrow we're going to catch you up on the Gypsy Rose Blanchard case. I'm going to talk to you about Trixie and my interview with her and what I know. We're also going to talk about all the stuff that Gypsy Rose has been up to. She's been doing a lot. She's been really busy. She's doing a lot. So we'll be doing that tomorrow at 8:30. So hope to see everybody back on Wednesday. Rose Z and I are planning a Weird Watts Wednesday. I'm not sure what the topic is going to be. So if you have something that you want us to talk about, let me know. Yeah, that's what I've got planned so far. I don't have anything else.
Awesome.
It's still Friday. It's still early.
Yeah. Well, I'm packing our folder, so I will see you all tomorrow, and I can't wait.
Okay. Bye, Jen.
Okay, bye.
Okay, guys, be sure to give this live a thumbs up. Helps us dance out into the algorithm. Have you heard about the dragonflies that we have over on YouTube? That is our community that we have. Here, let me show you. And if you're not subscribed, why are you not subscribed? I would really, really, really love to have you as a power subscriber. If you really like my content, be sure to become a dragonfly, and that's our membership, and it's $2.99 a month. I release all my videos early. We have special emojis over in the chat room. I kind of share things ahead of time with my dragonflies, and I go live sometimes just for the dragonflies. It's a way that I can support you guys and give you more content, and it's a way for you to support our channel. It's $2.99 a month, and I would love to have you. And the links for the dragonflies are in the show comments. So I'm going to go, if nobody's told you this today, and even if they have, I'm still going to tell you guys this. I love you guys so, so much, and I'll see you next time. Bye, guys. All right, guys. So before we get started, if we can do that algorithm dance party that I like to do, to start warming up your fingers and dancing them right up to the hearts and thumbs up button. We're coming to you today on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch. Hey, y'all. How you doing? Giving me the thumbs up just helps us dance out into the algorithm, party out there, find more interesting people, bring them back to our safe space where we like to have a lot of fun. We have a lot of snark, but we do it in a way that is all kind and respectful to one another, I would say.
I miss my cue, but baby, I had you. Miss my cue, but I had you for that day. Here in the blue, I'm falling deep.
Be sure to give this live a thumbs up. Helps me go out into the algorithm party out there. Bring more people back to the party. It's just a free way to help me.
Baby, I'm dancing with you tonight, and it feels fine. Feels fine. Baby, I'm dancing with you tonight. Here in the blue, I'm dancing and falling out, hoping for some time with you.